Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're taking a look at Tekken 8. A little bit late on the bus on this one because I just got it on sale. It did originally release in January, so as I say, a little bit late. But what can I do? I can only review the games that I have, right? So there you go. So Tekken 8 is obviously the continuation of the Tekken series. I've played most. I don't think I've played quite all, but definitely most of them. I got the original Tekken back when I picked up my original PlayStation very shortly after its release, and have been a relative fan of the series since then. It's probably one of my more favourite fighting games. I prefer it over Street Fighter, for instance, primarily because the controls in the earlier games made a whole bunch more sense to me. It made far more sense to have like a square per limb, a button per limb, so square, triangle, X, circle for your hands and feet, rather than having 3 different punch buttons, 3 different kick buttons, and then a triple kick or whatever it was. That made no sense to me, but whatever. That's just my brain and how it works. So Tekken 8 does pick up from where the previous game left off, which I was actually surprised to find out I actually owned. I have it in my Steam library, but I haven't played it very much, so I really must get on that. But I have completed the story mode in Tekken 8. I've done some of the arcade quest stuff, played some Tekken Ball, which is back, and also done a load of the character stories, so what essentially boils down to the arcade mode, if there wasn't an actual arcade mode. The story itself is good. It is a little bit overblown for me. I kind of preferred it when it was just about a fighting tournament, and now it's like the fate of the earth, with, you know, demons and monsters, and, you know, Jin and Kazuya just perpetually being at each other's throats. So there's that. It is spectacular, I will admit, but I just preferred the smaller scale fighting tournaments where it's just like, yeah, we're a bunch of fighters, not I'm a super powerful devil being sort of thing. So, but I mean, that again is personal preference. The storyline is fine. What did surprise me is there's a section, I'd say 3/4 of the way through the story, where you basically play Tekken Force for a little bit. And Tekken Force, which I think was Tekken 3, I think it was introduced in that, was always one of my favourite game modes. I think it is in 6 as well from what I've heard, although I think that's one of the few of the series I haven't played. That and Tekken Tag 2. I've only played the first Tekken Tag game on the PS2. And I was never a fan of the tag format anyway. I thought it was like a new Tekken thing. I think it was the first one out on PlayStation 2, so I thought I probably should get that, so I did. And it was fine. The arcade mode stories, I should call them character stories, because like arcade mode is a whole separate thing that I'll go on to. They're as insane as they usually are. So you go through, you pick your fighter, you get a custom intro for him, and then you have 5 fights, you win them all, and you get a custom sort of ending for them. And most of these are the traditional batshit insane Tekken endings that you've come to enjoy. So like Kuma shooting a rocket-propelled fish, for instance, stuff like that. Oh no, that's not the character endings. That's just one of his rage trigger thingy. I'll go on to that. But the endings are insane, even if that's not one of them. Oh good, someone's sawing something outside my house. This is amazing. Anyway, we'll continue, and hopefully it doesn't ruin the fucking video, because it'll be quite annoying if that comes to pass. So the gameplay, they've sort of spiced it up a bit by really requiring you to be aggressive in it. A lot of the times in previous Tekken games, high-level players were constantly just a block fest. But the way they've changed this up is basically they've given you a heat system, and it starts fully charged at the beginning of the round, and you can trigger it in a number of ways. There's a button to do so, or you can do it as part of a combination. And what this does is it increases your damage, allows you access to different moves, and it will also do chip damage through block. So blocking becomes slightly less important. They've also implemented a system where some moves won't fully take away health. There'll be like a grey outline of a bar available to you. You can regain that grey section by attacking your opponent and hitting their block. So it really does sort of incentivize you to be aggressive in the game. So that's a nice change for them to have made. I like it. I'm not very good at Tekken, I will say. I enjoy playing it, but my skill level is pretty low, if I have to be honest. And like, if I manage to actually duck a kick, it's usually by accident. So make of that what you will. There are several other modes to talk about, though. You have the arcade quest, which is more or less an extended tutorial. So you play a little chibi sort of avatar guy, and you go around arcades fighting, and you learn about different types of movements and systems that are done in the game, and it teaches you more about like Sorry, now they've got a jackhammer going. This is amazing. I'm loving life right now. So hopefully it won't come across too badly, because I might have to go and stab some people. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the arcade mode. So you do that, you go through. You also earn money. The money can be used to purchase customizable items and videos and stuff like that. Not too interesting stuff. The most interesting stuff is sort of more DLC. So there's that. But yeah, the arcade mode is quite long. It will take you a while to get through. The story mode itself is about 3 hours long, and if you don't constantly die like I did, it will take you about that long to get through. Because as I said, I'm not spectacular at Tekken, as you can probably see from the footage on the screen, hence proving it is captured by me. I'm playing it on PlayStation 5, should you be interested, hence the lack of an Afterburner overlay. So, you know, that's what it was on sale on, so I bought it on that. What do you want? So, what else have we got? We got Tekken Ball. Tekken Ball makes a return, the volleyball game where you punch a beach ball at each other, and if it hits you, you take damage. I never really found that mode to be particularly intriguing, and it remains so in this. It doesn't feature in part of the story, but it is a separate mode that you can play, although not online. Just single player, I guess, and couch co-op. It is one of those games that will let you play it as it's installing. Unfortunately, a lot of the fighters and stages and modes will not be available at that point, so I would recommend letting it install. Because I think I tried it and I had like 2 characters and 1 stage available to me, and I was like, nah. And that was about it. So, what would I say about the fight? And fighting, aside from those, still has the what they call rage techniques from the previous Tekken game, which is when they were introduced. So, as I said, not being a huge Tekken fan, because Tekken is a very, very complex game. When you get down to it, each of the characters have like way over 100 moves. Several have different stances, and they have entire systems that are unique to them. So, like, learning a character is a full-time job on it. So, for someone like me that likes the variety of playing different characters and just doing the basic stuff, you have to spend time to get sort of really into the weeds with it, which is one of the things I like the arcade mode for. It's something that I would never learn by myself. I would never sort of open the move menu and go, oh, okay, there's this big string of combo-y stuff I have to do that does something. Screw it, I just punch him. That would be my usual ones, but in the arcade mode it gives you goals to do this and stuff like that, and it really helps teach you, so it's a really good inclusion. There's also ghost mode, where you can actually fight ghosts of player collected data, so it's essentially the CPU emulating the styles of other players for you to fight against, so that's pretty good. I haven't touched it because I get my ass handed to me by relatively easy CPU settings usually. So, the characters, there's 3 new ones this time around, if you don't count the latest iteration of Jack, of course, because there's always a new one. You've got Reina, who is a punk girl, there's a bit more going on with her than probably either of the other 2 new introductions. You have Victor, who's like the commander of it's not G-Force, it's the Zaibatsu sort of forces. He's French and has a katana and is pretty cool, and he's a good character for me to pick up, who just does like basic combinations and stuff like that. He's pretty quick, pretty effective. I like playing as him. My favourite character, if you're interested, is Brian Fury, because he's a psychopath. Why wouldn't I like that? And the third one, who was the third one? Shit. Oh yes, it's a Peruvian MMA fighter called Azucena. I think that's how we say her name. She's a little bit annoying. She's a very complicated character. She's one of those ones with multiple stances, so if you want to get really good with her, you're going to have to put the time in. But she's a little bit annoying because her family grows coffee, and she just talks about coffee constantly, all the time. And I like coffee, but I don't feel it's that important that all of your mouth words should be dedicated towards it, which pretty much hers are. Customization, there is customization in the game. You can go in and change up your avatar as well as the characters themselves. The selection stuff on there is fine. There was nothing like, man, I've got to put that on that girl because that's going to look hot. There's nothing like that on there. I was certainly not talking like DOA sort of stuff. But you can give them different t-shirts and looks, and you know, some of the stuff's okay. Some of that needs to be bought with in-game currency though, and some is for DLC, unfortunately. A lot of the more interesting stuff and things like that are for DLC. There are some drawbacks in the fact that like some of it's not colorable, things like that, and some of it you can't mix and match. So, it's serviceable, it's fine. A lot of the characters' outfits are quite iconic, so it was like when they did Injustice 2 and you could change up the way your characters look, and I'm like, why would I want Superman not in the blue and red, you know? It just didn't strike me as right. And it's although to a lesser degree it's kind of the case with a lot of the Tekken characters that I've literally spent years playing as. Like, I don't know why I'm going to Paul's hair. What's up with that? He must be getting old because he's got some drooping going on there. I don't know when that happened either, because it used to be just a big sort of tall flat top, isn't it? And now it's just like the same thing but collapsed. So I don't know. Whatever. I mean, there's a few characters that aren't there. I mean, they are releasing DLC characters that will fill that in. So there's 2 available currently when I'm reviewing this, which was Eddie Gordo. So everybody knows Eddie Gordo. He's the, I believe, Brazilian, I'm going to say. I don't know. But he's a capoeira practitioner, the dance fighter sort of thing. And the other one is Lydia Zobieska. I don't know much about her. From the name, I'm going to assume she's Polish, because that sounds like a Polish name to me. I could be entirely wrong, but it definitely ticks my Polish senses, like that. So yeah, I'm fine. I mean, I don't mind too much like paying for DLC when it's characters. That's okay. When it's like boosts, or when it's like recolors, or when it's just like clothing, shit like that, I'd rather be able to like earn that shit in game. Characters themselves, I'm not too fussed about paying for DLC for. It's like, you know, the Mortal Kombat games releasing Omni-Man and Homelander and Peacemaker. I think I've gotten all of those. I don't really hold a grudge about paying for those unless they're stupidly priced, like Prey. Remember that? Yeah, Prey. Don't remember. No, it wasn't Prey, was it? Prey? We reviewed it. Jesus Christ. It's it was the multiplayer thing where one player was a monster and the other ones were hunters. Evolve, that was it. Shit. Yes, Evolve, there you go, where like the monsters were stupidly priced and I didn't want to pay that, so... And then it went free to play and died because no one was playing it. That one. How did it come to that? Yeah. Oh yeah, DLC. Apparently the online stuff, which of course I haven't really looked into because I get my ass kicked badly enough by an easy CPU, so I don't really want to go through the suffering of actual people killing me. Apparently it had big issues at launch, but apparently it's a lot better now, so there you go. That's all I've got to say about that, pretty much. But I like it. I like the fact that there's a lot to do in single player. I would think I would have preferred a longer story, but it's, as I say, it's 3 hours long. It's serviceable, and you've still got the arcade mode. And the arcade mode kind of has a story, even if like wandering about these chibi characters looks a bit weird. Set in a Tekken game, and you're wandering around arcades, and the players in there have different styles, so you can like learn those and be introduced to the techniques that you need to be more successful at the game. So it's certainly a worthwhile inclusion. I'm not sure about the chibi aesthetic. Some people like it. I think it has its places. I don't think this is one of them personally, though. So there you are. One of the nice features it does have is it features an animated recap of all of the previous games, so which you will need because it does throw you kind of in the deep end of like the first fight is Jin and Kazuya duking it out in their devil forms, and you know you're like, what the? I thought this was a tournament. You know, if this was your first pickup of Tekken and you open with that, you'd be like, what? And it looks more like Asura's Wrath than a fighting game at some point. So yeah, it's good that it put the recaps in because a newbie coming this would be pretty lost. There is a third DLC character. It has been announced, so I don't feel weird about mentioning it because in the game he's technically dead. But Heihachi Mishima is coming back, so I'm sure that will be a thing anyway, although there is a character in the game that shares some of his moveset and sort of shares some of his moveset, and it's been tweaked a little bit. But I won't say anything about that because it's part of the story and I don't really want to ruin it, even if it is, you know, insane. There's 35 characters overall, which is not the most that we've ever had in a Tekken game, and there are some mainstays that are absent, like Anna isn't in it, Julia isn't in it, stuff like that. I mean, and of course, Forest Law is now martial law again. So apparently, we like the older one better. And thought the younger one was it's not really as good. And Lei, that guy, the cop, he's not in it either. It's just a shame. That was always one of my favourites. So there you go. I don't know if there's storyline reasons. Maybe they got killed off in Tekken 6 and I should go back and play it. But there you are. The storyline is very anime-esque. There's some big anime moments in it with lots of like flashing lights and explosions and flying about and epic stuff. And you know, I'm okay with anime. I'm not massively into it, but you know, I watch my fair share. And I've seen Death Note and Attack on Titan and the Guyver series and stuff like that. And what was it? Devilman. Yeah, that was back earlier. There you go, Devilman. The two movies that came out. I haven't seen the live action one of Devilman. Is that any good? I don't know. Let me know. But if you're not into anime, you might be like, ugh, this is stupid. Which is sentiments I've heard about anime from multiple people, so I imagine that it would be the same in this. The graphics are beautiful. It runs seemingly at a good frame rate. As I said, I don't have any way of measuring that really other than by eye. I think it's running at least 60 from what I can tell. I don't notice any jitters or slowdown. It is a seriously good looking game. Perhaps not the very best game I've ever seen, but it's certainly no slouch. It is up there. It's beautiful. The destructive effects are fine. All of the sort of flashy energy effects around your special attacks are fine. And it's Tekken, but more aggressive, with a lot of content for single players, and obviously the multiplayer is there as well if you fancy that. There are a few omissions. As I said, Tekken Force is nowhere to be found outside of that one tiny bit in the story, where you're basically fighting against the G-Force army, I think it is, and you're going through different sections and playing different characters in sort of what is essentially Tekken Force. Which, yeah, I love the Tekken Force, man. Let's bring that back, eh? We don't get enough games that are just like side-scrolling beat-em-up, so give us some. I like some of that. And also, there's no like team battles or anything like that in it. I don't know if that was your thing. It was never really my thing. I wasn't a huge proponent of Tekken Tag, other than it was the new Tekken game that I bought. I don't really see the point. I mean, certainly in the earlier games when it was a tournament-based concept, I don't really see the point of having a tag team. That seems a bit stupid. If you're trying to become the king of Iron Fist, you don't want to have two kings of Iron Fist. You kind of want to be the best, rather than, you know, I'm the best with this guy, who is also the best. I don't get it. But that's just me. I mean, as a game mode, I suppose it's perfectly serviceable, but at least it's not cameos, right? because god damn I hate cameos. That's so annoying. It's like, here's a cool fighter that you were able to play earlier, now you can't play him, and you can only get him coming in as an assist. Thanks. Oh, and they're DLC as well. Oh, thanks. Yeah, screw off with the cameos. Anyway guys, Tekken 8, I almost call it Tekken Tag 8, that would be something, wouldn't it? It plays amazingly. No qualms with the play. As I said, there's a lot of single player content and you also have the multiplayer stuff going on, so you know, if you're in a fighting games, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's a really good choice. There are some, areas where I would like to see more have been done, like Tekken Force, just saying. But outside of that, it's a good Tekken game. You've still got some of the Tekken craziness in it. And although I felt the storyline itself was a bit too sort of overarching and sort of epic, I much prefer it when it was just like struggling for the control of a company. It is still impressive and grandiose, and there's a lot of fighting in it. You do play as Jin most of the time in this story, but you do have times when you're playing as other characters as well, so it's not too bad. If you don't like Jin though, yeah, story mode's not going to be great for you. But Jin's okay in my book, so I didn't mind too much. Anyway guys, that's been me going on about Tekken 8. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.